and we do have a quorum. You want to wait?
No, I'll go upstairs and just buzzer and see.
Yeah.
Oh, here she comes. I don't know what that bright thing is in the sky. It's scary. What is that?
See these? No, they don't. Yeah.
No.
But yeah. I think we could get them to spell it wrong, and then we can get it for free.
Get it for
That happened to me. I had the mortgage company, Land's End, screwed up, and the proof was correct, but all of the merchandise they sent me back said Newton Motage instead of mortgage. And I started giving this stuff out at Christmas to people, and I looked, it was very expensive for them.
I bet.
You get to keep all of that, and they had to put.
And I was probably the only licensed mortgage company in Massachusetts.
Don't pronounce the R's in.
Well, the other one while waiting for Margaret. At the end of my career of drinking, I was working at the IHOP.
Career for kids.
No, if you ever went into an IHOP at 3 a.m. and wondered why it sucked, because I was in charge. And a blackout. I had this guy who was the assistant manager who just wanted to succeed so badly. He was from Saugus, where Frank McGrain is from. And he decides he's going to run a hot turkey sandwich special. I go, Steve, go for it, dude. So he goes to a buddy of his who's got a printing company in Saugus and all this stuff. And I show up in the restaurant, and there's a big poster, and every table's got a little thing about the hot Tucky sandwich. They forgot the R, and nobody picked it up. It's on every table. It's on everything else.
And you picked it up at 3 a.m.?
As soon as I walk, what's Tucky?
What's Tucky?
It's a 3 a.m. turkey.
Right, and it wouldn't matter at
Wouldn't
3
matter.
a.m.
Actually, we had the Cadillac Bernie Salami booth at that.
Oh, my gosh. Hey, Brooke.
Hi there.
Awesome.
Chris is up in a meeting. I'm sure he'll be here as soon as it's over. So.
All right, well, it is 6 minutes after 3. We'll call this meeting to order, and we will start with first privilege of the floor number 1.
They're on the agenda.
All right, I'm ready. We will go to approval of the minutes from April 25th. How are you, Margaret?
Good.
Ready to approve some minutes?
I got a lot of corrections.
Okay, let's go.
Oh,
Nope, that's right.
Actually, can we be privileged of the floor?
All right,
Margaret, what do you have?
So starting out with line 23, you have the vote in the
next time.
motion.
Oh, there you go.
No, we don't want to be on the agenda.
What was that? I'm sorry.
On line 23, you
Oh.
have me making the motion and seconding it.
So who wants to second it? Rich?
That's second.
Okay, Rich seconds it.
Okay,
All right.
on line 46.
I got that too. The two there's,
We're 2 for 2.
it shouldn't be places are there and are completed. We've got to remove something in that.
Okay. Be returned to their places
And complete.
and complete. And complete.
All right.
Line 48.
Yep.
Just a couple after that. I know it's just something
Not yet underway.
as yet.
No,
Or yet.
no, just delete the yet
Yeah.
as final. So put a comma after underway and as final equipment price
Get rid
is
of
still
it.
being sought.
All right.
Yeah, get rid of out.
Get rid of what?
Out is being sought to get the best possible price.
So,
How could one?
Yeah.
we'll delete that.
I'm getting there. Line 88.
Because it was.
All right.
Mhm.
Okay.
Sprinkler system is also the oldest system currently in the arena, which hasn't, it should be been replaced.
Which hasn't
Not
been.
Been
Must
replaced.
be replaced.
Yes.
Line 107. just a little awkward, is not considered to be in compliance with the current regulations, nor does it fall under
Nor does
being
it fall.
grandfathered.
Yeah.
Right.
Line 143.
It's almost as fun as that thing in people where it's 5 and 10 differences. All right, I've got 143 too.
B utilities.
All three of them.
Yeah. All right. You got
And
157?
158.
I got 157.
I got 145, but we'll come back to that.
Oh, no.
Reviewed and signed, right, Mike?
Yeah.
Okay.
What is it, where are we?
157 reviewed and signed.
Okay.
What do you have on 145?
145 should be on, not R.
Yep. Got it. Yep.
Actually, I got a few others we passed by.
Well, we'll come
We'll
back.
come back to them.
And one more I had on 158.
It's good to see.
15 years at 3% with a not to exceed rate of 3.5%.
Okay. Let's go back to yours.
All right, go back to 55. 55, yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, the new police cruiser, that whole set, and after the electronics are installed, didn't he give us didn't Chris give us a rough date for that? It's sort of open-ended as to when that's gonna be.
He said
Well-
about 10 days.
Yeah, it still, we are still waiting on radar, so there's still electronics that need to be installed.
Alright. 63?
Yeah.
It's one of those collective things. The Hand Schemmel family are property owners, I think.
Yes.
Although the family is, you could say family is. Number, line 80. It's a mixed match. It says if all these repairs are done, then the system will be nearly replaced, or when all these repairs are done, it will be nearly, or the system will be nearly completed. You got, it's
Are and will,
yeah.
okay,
When all are done, system will be.
will be nearly.
Yeah. And did we do 83?
No.
83.
And alarm is added to their current alarm system.
And an alarm monitoring
So
system.
not there, I have written down.
We're just gonna take out the second alarm, so the current system, to their current system.
Right. Is that it?
That'll work.
All right, is there a motion to approve the minutes as amended?
So moved.
Second.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Financial report.
You're doing okay, unless you have any questions, there's nothing.
Did we get a grant or something from public safety to that revenue being up at 74%? Or is there a payment we get that I forgot about?
It would be ambulance payments.
Oh, okay,
It's
that
a
makes- that would
timing
make
of,
sense,
it's a timing of ambulance payments.
Those-
For
the only
just-
one I
That
had.
is why it's on, we've gotten a lot the last few weeks.
All right. Any other questions on financials? No? All right, calendar, next meeting is the 30th. Planning board is the 14th. Everyone will be here for one of these. All right, we'll move on. Let's move on. We haven't seen Brooke in a couple of weeks. So Brooke, what's going on?
A couple of items that I think we'll talk about later in the agenda. But just finishing up hiring, just had a cleanup, which was really well attended on, what day was that?
The day they ran out of food. and some of
11th.
us didn't get
Yeah.
lunch.
Who didn't get lunch?
I didn't get
Oh,
lunch.
you didn't get lunch. Yes, you were one of the, we were stretching it as long as we could. I think, yeah, me and Nelson didn't either. So we're gonna have to increase that. It has been wonderful having Lassie done part of it because it literally has drawn, 50 people to this cleanup now for 2 years in a row. So we're grateful to have them, and yes, next year we'll have more food. What else did we have going on? The fishing derby is happening a week from Saturday, and Dave, Nelson, Ray, and I have been working hard on that and getting ready for that.
When are the fish due?
Next week.
Yeah, I don't know what the
And
day
you'll
is.
be, the dam repairs will be, your boards will be fixed.
Kettle boats are expected tomorrow, delivery, is tomorrow.
Okay.
That's it, unless you have any other questions.
All right, well, do you guys want to skip ahead and let Brooke get out of here and go over her stuff?
Yeah,
Go over
sure.
with everybody. And then we'll go to you guys. All right, Brooke, so let's move on. Let's skip out of, let's go to boat dock repair proposal. I have some questions. as-
Doctors,
The dock.
the doctors.
All right, what is the necessity and the reason for the increase from 15,367 to 16,183?
No, it's not an increase,
It was
it's
a
a decrease.
decrease.
The 16 came in first,
Okay,
and then she went back because there was material missing.
There were some things that they were gonna charge extra and also we felt like, it was more than what we had talked about and they agreed to include the things that were missing and give us a discount.
okay, I.
Yeah.
So what we are voting on is a 15,367,
What did we budget?
15,000.
Yeah,
So we're within 300, so.
and we were slightly under for the pedal boats, so that was, it basically is coming out exactly as
Okay, that's budget.
total.
All right, anybody have any questions on this?
No?
No. All right, do we need to vote on
Yeah,
this?
if you would.
I'll make a motion to approve, entering into agreement with Doc Doctors for $15,367.80. Is there a second?
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
but just a note that this was part of the budget for this year.
Thank you.
okay. Now, the seasonal position at the rec department. I had a couple of questions.
Yep.
Under supervision,
Mhm.
it says from a supervisor. How is this person gonna know who the supervisor is when? You got a plan for that?
I'm not sure where you're reading from.
Under the second paragraph, supervision.
Yep.
Employee receives direct orders from the supervisor who indicates the general work to be performed and outlining the services to be
I don't think
performed.
you have the right version of this. Does yours say that too, Rich?
No, it works under the general daily supervision of the recreation director and in coordination with the director
Right.
of public
Oh,
works.
I'm sorry, you're on the second.
I went to the second paragraph
Yeah.
because
Second.
my question is, do we need to be more specific on who this person, is this person gonna get confused where, you know, Jim is gonna want you to do something one day and you're gonna want him to do
Well,
something the same
that's
day?
why I included it. So in the first sentence of that paragraph, it's works under the general daily supervision of the recreation director and in coordination. So there's gonna have to be some coordinating with
Yeah.
tools and things that that person's
So-
gonna be using.
Yeah, no,
So Jim is not the supervisor. Brooke is the only supervisor that this
Yeah.
person has.
okay, I
And
just,
he
And
has
that's
to
why I
coordinate.
said-
all right, no, I just wanted to be sure of it
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the way it comes out later, that you guys haven't figured out. that-
Yeah, we wanted it to be under one.
Okay,
And then, as long as you bring that up, under the work examples, on the
Yeah.
second page, the last one, I did put this in because there are gonna be times where I may not be there
Yeah.
and Jim, they're talking about some equipment or whatever, so that's saying any special jobs or duties assigned by the recreation director and or director of public works.
Yeah.
And I do think it's important to put that, so you're being clear about,
okay. And the only other question I had, not to interfere completely with this thing, was you have the shifts Wednesday through Sunday. Don't you think we would need somebody Monday morning to clean up from the weekend?
well, actually, I think the mess is far greater on Saturday morning and Sunday morning than it would be on Monday morning.
Okay, I just,
Because
From that,
people are leaving
yeah.
on Sunday night generally, so I think the real mess is gonna be Saturday and Sunday morning. I thought about that.
yeah, okay,
And we'll have, and so that we do have someone looking at that, we can, give other people at the waterfront some responsibilities on Monday and Tuesday morning, just to do the
Okay.
beach the way they have in the past. Hopefully,
Yeah.
it'll look really a lot nicer this summer.
okay. No, I was just thinking that if we have all these weddings and all this other stuff to
Mhm.
plan, and they're carrying through to Sunday, you know, we'll look like a town in a hangover on Monday morning. No, seriously.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Mark.
Brooke, what is it that we have on Stone Tower Lane?
Well, that
It
is,
sounds like it's the whole road.
yeah,
I
I
don't think
mean,
it
it's
is, right?
just something, go ahead.
It is the stone tower and that little part
Oh, the
beside it.
Stone Tower
Yeah,
Lane
little
Park.
stone,
My
there's
yard.
a little,
Yeah.
yeah, his yard.
Memorial.
Mike's yard.
You know, the melt this year from the academy was very, limited compared to past years.
And what about the town trails?
so
What do we consider to be the town
What I
trails?
had a hard time coming up with a word for it, but the trail that comes from Golden Eagle, or not Golden Eagle, from the playground down to the beach
Yeah.
is the one that I'm thinking about most clearly. But there may be other things that come into play. Like there's one that comes from Public Works too. What's that called? Is that still called Village Trail down there? So there may be other places where this person could help out. But the specific trail I was referring to was the one that comes from the playground down to the beach, which often has a lot of trash and
Around the back of Golden Eagle?
it's.
No, it's actually
No.
by Valley Road and Golden Eagle and it comes from the playground at Packard's Field and comes down to the beach,
And the Cantland, and the Arbor, the
the
wedding
arbor.
road comes off
Goes
of
through
it,
there.
Okay.
but it's really that's a town,
It's a
Trail.
town parcel,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Excellent.
So we're starting to interview for this.
The main concerns that we've been kind of working with, besides the budget, have been the clear visibility of the message of basically town of Waterville Valley from a perspective before that turn is made onto Triple I Road, as well as the overall size of the sign itself. It's a little bit hard to tell the scale.
The sign is
Mark, do those have the
16 feet.
scale on them?
16
Is there a
feet
scale,
long.
Mark?
How high is the top of the tower?
No,
5.5 feet.
5.5. Yeah, so it's a.
And is that from
No,
a built up level of?
No, it's more,
3/8.
it's actually, that's 5.5 from there. So I think we're looking more like 7 feet high.
Yeah,
And
this
this is
total
out-
length is 16.
But the height of the stone part,
The
it'll
stone part was, well, he said he's gonna,
add a
he's
little.
still working
Yeah,
on that, but it's around 7 or 8 feet right now.
yeah.
Okay, 7 or 8 feet, and that's from a level that's brought up, it's gonna be built up to street level, so it's gonna be 7.
That's right.
And possibly we're talking even a little bit above.
Maybe,
You know, we
yeah,
wanted to
okay.
make sure that the snow pile underneath doesn't take too much because we want to be certain that these icons hanging underneath are removable.
And the only lighting is those 3 cans on the sign there?
Yes.
There's
Well,
not,
Well,
There's-
depending on if the logo ends up on the side or not, there may be a light there.
There's a little sign, a little light shown right here, Mike.
Above
Right
the
over the
WV.
logo
For
there.
the logo.
okay, I'm just wondering if, we might wanna have spots for night shining at the whole sign,
Yeah,
as
Well-
opposed to, because I'm just wondering what what you're going to see at night with this, where it might not be bright enough. it might not-
exactly. And one of the design specs that they are due to us is a side view. These, actually, the lights themselves stick out about 2 feet from the sign and shine down. And really, whether we decide to have the logo here or not, we can always include this light here to accent the stonework at night. There's been a lot of talk about it, because we talked about reflective paint
Yeah.
versus not. And really, they feel very confident
Okay.
that the lights that they've shown will.
And this is the only
Sufficient.
format of the sign, so it's this sign with or without the logo, there isn't an alternative.
Well, they're
There
two
was- there was
different.
one
They're,
that was on board.
they're actually different.
To my eyes, I'm not, the only thing, I'm saying
The
that one's got the
shadow.
wood bar, the other, but I was thinking more of something that was completely different. Like
Well,
something
We have this,
that- No, I'm
the
just,
green, stone and brown is
What we
basically
want to do.
what the group settled on
Okay.
the
Yeah.
format. Now it's just tweaking where the logo is and where the,
it's kind of like you're gonna have spaghetti, but with a lot of sauce or little sauce.
well, with meatballs or
Yeah.
sausage is really what we're talking about.
I'm not
Because,
seeing meatballs.
well,
I'm seeing a little bit of sauce.
well, because.
No, I don't have a problem with this at all.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if when people start asking me questions, on stuff like this. This is the consensus of what we want.
Because we had basically discussed with Wood and Wood, the interest in having the natural materials.
Yeah.
And initially, we had talked about stone underneath, but then the snow will cover it, you won't see it year round, so that kind of got put to the side. The desire to have some wood as well as a stone, but not have it be too bulky, which sort of lent it. So it's been, what, a half a dozen discussions so far with the design groups to sort of come to this point.
And how far is it from the ground to the bottom of the sign? That's an interesting thing based on snow.
Exactly, and that's why they are nudging it up a little bit higher. At this point, to the bottom of the icons, they're trying to make it 3 to 3.5 feet to the bottom of these, so it may take a little bit of
And
maintenance. but-
on the other side here, where it's gonna be close to the road, how far will that boulder be from the road?
Well, don't forget, there's a 10-foot multi-use pathway.
Yeah, no, I'm
too.
just wondering about plowing stuff.
I-
You know, is this gonna get plowed up?
I think it'll be just wherever it needs
Jim?
to be to
It'll be fine.
stay.
So I've been out on location.
Okay, no, I just,
Yeah, and I don't have any issues with it.
you know, it's just, I kind of like the idea of new eyes seeing something differently,
Yes.
to be able to come up with, oh, did
Well, what they're, if once we settle on a preferred version of this.
Yeah.
They will make a life-size mock-up.
Yeah.
And they will put it down, and we can actually tweak the direction that it faces but we'll be able to see it in dimension, what it's gonna look like beside the road.
Okay.
And we'll be able to go down the road and look at it and that kind of thing, so.
Yeah, and we had talked about actually doing that in conjunction with Memorial Day, kind of reveal in town square. Their only concern is that they can't leave it for long periods of time
Right,
because of the wind. So that in place will have to
Right.
be just for a shorter
I
period
think
of
it's a
time.
great idea.
I had one question. It's kind of a basic question because this is the first sign, hopefully, and we're gonna have additional signs in the future, even though that didn't pass the last time. We're kind of hoping that, somewhere along the line, all the signs in town are gonna be consistent. So what happens if the mountain changes their meatball?
Well,
I mean, it might be a silly question, but I've seen variations of this meatball
That's
around
true.
town. I have also seen signs that have just a representative mountain with some scrolling
Right.
off to the side at the top.
Yeah.
And so I think if you make a commitment to this and you're making a commitment to the meatball, you need to think about what if the meatball changes? What are we gonna do then?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think that was one of the reasons we kind of talked about it being on the column, because it could be removable
It
meatball.
is removable, that'll be its own separate structure. It'll look like it's built into the rock, but the way he seemed to be explaining it is there'll be a metal column in the middle of that rock pile. And the sign would be connected to that, so it would be removable.
Exactly.
I think that the WV is iconic. It's
Yeah.
lasted 50 years, and
Yeah,
they'd be
and
idiots to
hopefully
change
will
it.
continue.
I know that they do variations with like snowboarding and Darth Vader look and whatnot, but I think that this is we kind of set the stage that this is.
Yeah.
And Tim seemed to be
The
pretty
logo.
committed to
Yeah.
carrying this
Oh, yeah.
through in the family of signs.
Okay.
Because they very much want a family of signs that everything looks similar.
Yeah.
So the brown and the green
Yeah.
and all that will be the same.
Yeah, and even the icons at the bottom, the different
Right.
colors, it just shows the golf, but all the different activities and those colors will carry through the valley in these families of signs. So, if pink is swimming, we'll see that at the athletic club, at the pond, at Cascades, and we can use it in all different places.
And in the winter, because we're trying to bring people in here for other things, we'll take some of the icons and have them be food and beverage and hotel lodging and that sort of thing.
I think if we see the same, it's like the Olympics icon thing.
Yeah.
Have it on the buildings physically so that people can link the two, so.
Yeah.
I like it.
I have one question, the motto at the bottom of the sign.
Yes.
I thought our town motto was "a town at the end of the road." Where did this come from?
This is Tom's brain.
That was just my thought. I mean, it's, we want people to come in and live here for a lifetime. We're trying to get more residents, more kids in the school. And so for a vacation or a lifetime, it encompasses the entire Valley experience. So it was kind of a, hey, put it in their head that people do live here and put their kids into school. They vacation here.
Yeah.
Whereas the town at the end of the road,
Yeah.
I don't think Town at the End of the Road is a slogan. I think it's the title of a book about the town.
Yeah.
You know, it's-
I
I actually like this. I like that vacation or lifetime.
got a question on it. It rings one way really true, but it rings the other way if someone's thinking they're coming here for the vacation of a lifetime and they show up here in April and nothing's open.
vacation or.
Or-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's slide over it.
If it was,
Oh, vacation or
Or
like
A lifetime.
See, a lot of people have ADD like me who want.
that's why, people we're here to help.
It's like Bob Wiles was one of my closest friends, and I still would call his place Adobe instead of a boat.
Yeah.
All right, looks great. What do we need to do on this?
Well, do you want to prefer that we can work more towards, or
Yeah.
how do you want it, what do you want to do?
Well, we're sort of chatting again with Wood and Wood tomorrow, to have the larger signs prepared in time for Memorial Day, and we're doing a Photoshopped version that's more of a handout size that would show the sign in location, to give them enough time to prep for that. They'd like to know which direction we want to go by the end of the week, at least a preferred one to put in the Photoshopped version of the handout. And any other guidance that we can give them for tomorrow.
Oh, I don't want to make that decision. I think you got two very valid things here. I think you might wind up with a synthesis of the two. Could you put the bug on the one that has the mountain on the top of the thing here? Could you do, I think they look very similar, and I think they're both right on the money.
Oh,
So,
well, that's,
Yeah,
how's that for you?
yeah,
No,
I
that's
think,
good.
and I think particularly using the stone,
Yeah.
again, I've seen on
That's a good
signs
idea.
around town, it's very classic.
I-
It's much
Yeah.
better
Yeah.
than just the.
But
Right.
I really
Yeah.
like the bug on the side. I think the bug.
on the
On
side,
the
On-
side
on-
or the side?
On the
Logo
side.
on the side.
Yeah, on this, because that
On
can be
the
changed to anything else we want in the future. If we're hosting an Olympics or we have some event or.
That's a good
Right,
point.
that's
We should
a-
ask
that's
if
a
it's
great-
removable, it could be made
I'm sure it can
removable.
be
Yeah.
removed. Just a hammer and chisel.
No, but I mean, in a similar system as to what they're doing with the icons, if they could create a
The one-
system.
Yeah, but no, you know what I mean? If we have an event that's worth
and people.
Yeah,
commemorating, we'll
absolutely.
spend
That's the
$500 or
kind of
$1,000
comments
to
that they're-
get something changed there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I go with the one price of Fig Newton or something.
The other one's too square, too rectangular.
So,
yeah.
We're in
All
the
right, great.
mountains, make it the mountains.
so, once again, Mark, the question is, do we have to do anything with this?
Nope, I think that's the guidance that you were looking for, and we're
Yeah.
ready to go.
Excellent job.
Great,
I think it looks great.
all
Awesome.
right, thank you.
Either one of them, I like this more rustic one. I'd like
The,
to see the bug on.
the mountain one, you mean, or?
Yeah.
With the bug in the middle,
With the
No,
bug
the
on the
bug over
column,
on the
the bug
column.
on the
on the
column.
column, right.
But with the mountain.
Right, I have one.
So Tom has a version of that.
Oh, no,
Look at that.
I don't
just
think-
look at it.
But
and
look
see.
at it, because sometimes
It might
it
look too
changes
busy.
the look, or makes it look more like a bump than a mountain.
So
Put a
that's
white
the
cap
same
on
as
it.
this, but the bug is on
Yeah.
the side.
Oh, that's not a
Yeah.
bad idea.
That might
It doesn't.
No, it
Right,
really-
the
Like
mountain
even
looks
the white
weird.
out.
It does,
Right.
it looks like this
Right.
is smaller.
Yeah,
See?
the mountain doesn't look normal.
Oh, wait a minute, it's a different thing. Because this one here, this is hanging,
Right.
and that's the full length, so my idea is what would it look like if you had it on a hanging?
They can call it town
Uh,
office.
hang-
No, it's like this one here,
There you
this is
go.
narrower than that, so, you know what I mean, what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because I love this hanging thing, I think that really gives it kind of looks like a ski chair in certain ways. It shows rustic New Hampshire, the iron work to that.
The only thing that we don't know about that one is the size of the letters.
Well, I'll leave it in your hands. Both, I can live with that.
They're all good, yeah.
Okay,
Great.
Thanks.
all right,
Okay, thanks.
thank you.
Thank you.
What do you mean it's clean? You know, just prepping for Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. Thank you.
Yeah.
Can we do 8A?
8A. Okay, wait, let's get Greg out of here.
Yeah.
All right, Greg.
No, not literally.
Not,
Please.
no.
Not yet.
2 weeks from any given day.
Look at me the wrong way.
Hey, hey.
So, the SCI.
Right.
Proposal, do you wanna talk to this, Craig, or do you want me to,
Oh, for the pump.
what happened, yeah, for the
Okay, so, the reason we want by you is because everything newly by breaks. Our generator, our brand new generator that had the issue, brought back, it was kind of on the back burner since Tim has left. We used to have a pump that we pumped the sludge up above it, the smelly sludge that you all used to smell. That was our backup plan for the raw sewage pumps to not work. All the power in the world won't help us if those pumps don't run.
Right.
So for the last few years, we've been kind of without a pump or without a backup.
Yeah.
So that kind of opened our eyes that without a generator, we're not right downtown from the rentals shop, et cetera, et cetera. I brought it to Mark that we probably should have a pump again. And going through the treatment plan, I found, I think, a way that we can hook up really quick and get it. It won't go to the main lagoons, it'll go to the sludge lagoons, but they're all tied together, so we wouldn't be out of violation. But the pump that we've been renting was offered to us for a price of $20,000. It's a 6-inch pump.
So tell me what this is going to accomplish again.
What if the generator fails or the raw surge pumps fail?
All right.
This would pump the raw surge.
So this is a triple backup. This
This'll be a
is
double
doomsday.
double back.
Double,
It's a doomsday.
which most towns have a pump.
Yeah, okay.
Not only just for the treatment plant, but if anything out in town between manholes or there's a blockage in a manhole somewhere, this pump will be able to skip over and pump to the next manhole. It's kind of an emergency.
I believe that you know what you're doing and what you want is always reasonable. The questions I made on this would be, this pump doesn't run unless it's needed, correct?
Well, we will be using it to pump the sludge, which we have to do yearly anyway.
And how often is that done?
Well, we used to
Once
do
or
it twice a year.
Twice a year.
Okay.
Well, since we've been renting the pump.
Yeah.
It costs $1,000 to get it here. And
Okay.
then we rent it for $500 a week. And it's kind of one of those,
How long does it take to pump the sludge?
sometimes 6 weeks, depending on how.
Okay, so you're 500 a week.
4,000
Okay,
into it,
and that's in the budget every year?
yes,
Okay, so that number would come out of the budget, correct?
potentially, yes.
To go to this.
Yeah, we still need to dispose of. We still need a number in.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
But the pump costs will go up.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does a new pump cost?
Some of the bids we were getting were upwards of $45,000.
Okay, now the 90-day warranty is a question, if we buy it and we don't pump till we've owned this thing for, 160
We'll use it twice a year.
no,
No,
I'm
but
saying
you'll,
twice.
you'll have it.
But you got a 90-day warranty where you might not.
We've used it for what, 4 years now?
Oh, you mean this is the pump we
This
have
is
here?
The pump, we've had it here.
And have they've come and maintained it while it's been there?
He just assured me he went over everything.
And is there a service contract available with us?
Oh,
I'm sure, yes, we can work that.
Okay, so this isn't a new pump, this is something you've had.
Oh, we've had it, but we ship it back after we're done.
Okay,
We're the only ones that are using this particular pump
Oh,
that
That's
SCI
why-
has.
that's why he's.
So he's offering
Okay.
it to us because we're the only customer that has been using it. So,
I think we probably put
we're the only.
300 hours on it in the last 4 years.
Tell them we're gonna go.
well, no, he
pump somewhere else.
gets a, he
But
knows that
here's
he's.
the other thing, though, you gotta remember, we've been dealing with these guys for a long time.
Yeah.
And if I call Rob today and say, the pump isn't starting, and it's something Billy can't figure out or myself, Rob would be
Yes,
Well, Cat's behind the
Cat's-
generator.
cat's working.
Cat's working. I mean, they were here within 40 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
When it died.
Do we have any idea why it's?
It's a rotor.
It was in the generator
in the
itself.
generator.
It wasn't the cat price.
For all our rentals and everything else.
They have covered everything that
Right.
we've asked them to, so.
The mechanic said he has never seen one of these like that.
Lucky us.
lucky us.
All right, I don't have a problem with this.
No,
Margaret?
I don't.
Where's the money coming from?
The money comes from the aeration system.
Okay.
We've looked, Greg has looked at that and we're okay for another year.
All right,
So we'll just pick that up in the
Okay,
capital.
do we need a motion on this?
Yes, please.
Would someone make a motion, please? So move. And a second,
Second,
all in favor? Aye. Aye, cool. Aye. Great.
Okay.
and we
I
don't
can sleep
need,
again.
we don't need town approval to,
No,
Pre-program.
I have checked with town council and you can use that money that was appropriated for the aeration system to do this purchase in place of the aeration system work.
All right, let's go to Chris now. Thank you very much, Greg. Nice to see
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Greg.
thanks, Greg.
Greg, hold on.
That one.
No, I'm just gonna give you the paper.
No.
All right, we'll be here probably next week. That's the other good thing. The other pump is 6 weeks out. So we're good to
So
go.
we've been busy the last couple of weeks. We got all our SCBA's certified. We got our compressor certified. UL was here to look at the ladder truck. We had some active shooter training at Thornton. We had some training here. And tomorrow SOU is coming to town to do some GPS training. So that's all going well. The ladder truck had some issues though. So to bring you back, we had the ladder truck committee.
Right.
And the direction we got was to do a full assessment of the ladder. We called our consultant, our ladder truck consultant, and he recommended to do a UL test. We finally got a hold of UL.
What is your?
Underwriters
Oh,
Laboratories.
it is. I thought it was something.
So there's two different types of tests they do. There's an annual test, which we've been doing annually, and then there's a 5-year non-destructive test, they call it. I still don't know why they call it that. Because, and that's where they crawl right into it.
Yeah.
They found some issues that could be quite costly.
Define quite costly.
Upwards of 100,000.
Or quite costly.
However, we don't know that for sure.
Yeah.
So UL aren't the mechanics. They just look at the stuff and say, "Oh, this could be bad. This could be bad," and they point out things. So our next step is to hire our mechanic. Our ladder truck consultant has since retired, so he recommended us to somebody else. We've been in contact with them. We sent them the report from UL, and they're the ones that said it could be quite costly, but he doesn't know until he comes up and looks at it. So he's going to come up and look at it and tell us where we're at. It's out of service right now because of some leaks they found and because of this issue that he's found. So it wasn't certified after the 5-year UL test. Now, would it have been certified if we just did a 1-year test on it? Maybe, but we're required to do the 5-year test every 5 years and we're due. So that's how they pick those things up. So that's where we are now. So it's kind of up in the air as to what direction we're going to head in until we know what repairs cost.
For just a question as far as the repairs are concerned, if the mechanic verifies what UL has said, and let's say that it's $50,000 to $100,000 to repair it, is that something? Would it remain would it have to be out of service all the way to next town meeting until we have that much money, or?
That would be a
replacement or
decision. That would be a decision that I could make after consulting with.
But what about our insurance company?
That's another issue. We have to call
Yeah.
Primex to see if they would certify it.
Yeah.
It may be out of service for some things and
Right,
some
right.
maneuvers and not others. Or
Okay,
I'd have
Okay,
to
but it might be usable maybe
right
in
for
the
certain
for
some
certain
things.
things.
Yes.
Right.
Chris, where's the nearest operational ladder truck?
Plymouth.
And is everything in good shape?
Theirs is fairly new, yes.
Like a couple of years.
So that's where we are there.
And our new officer, is he doing shifts and all that?
Not yet. He's still doing some in-house training. But we'll see him out there soon, I'm sure.
Any other questions from public safety? All right, Chris, while you're here, can we go to the ice arena food vending proposal? What your opinion on that is?
Yes. I thought Rory was going to be here today, and by the way, they're going to start sprinkler systems were supposed to be here today. I don't know if they were or not. I didn't see them over there. But they're going to start the project over there. So that's one thing with the ice arena. Warrior Conference is June, first weekend in June. They're expecting 1,200, so that's ice arena related. Right. As far as concessions, Rory's proposal is to take a part of the warming room, the part that's closest to the town square, and put a counter in there all the way across, and do have like a pizza warmer. So they're gonna pre-order pizza, bring it in there, put it on their lap, sell slices of pizza, and do maybe make some paninis, he mentioned. Yeah. So there's no fryolators, there's no ovens, he doesn't propose anything like that, no alcohol. He doesn't propose anything like that. He just mentioned, popcorn, panini, pizza lamp. Where it goes from there, I don't know, but that was the initial proposal.
Where's he getting the food from?
I am not sure. He mentioned Exit 28 Pizza for some things. He did mention that, but I don't know. I don't know if they're bound to that. I don't know.
Good luck to them.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let them. I don't have a problem with it if you don't see it from public safety.
Well, I mean, from a health issue and from a fire issue, there's no problem with it. Now, as far as the competition and the business part of it, I don't want to make a judgment on that.
Well, I mean, there was a lot of controversy when we allowed them to open the private room, and they had made an arrangement with Mulligan's and.
Mulligan's was opening the private room.
Right.
But it was.
But there was,
I don't think they have a right to do that. I think the issue that we had with that was them allowing them to serve alcohol.
Right.
And so, thinking back to that, I think the alcohol was Mulligan's idea, and if I remember right, John and Fred were not too keen on the alcohol part, and that might have been part of the issue over there.
Well, and also part of it, I think, was people saying, "Hey, this is a town facility, and Legends and Latas were not asked to."
Right, and I'm sensitive to that.
Yeah.
But from a public safety, fire, and health, what he wants to do is fine.
Yeah, good. And all right, great. Well, thanks for your feedback on that. Anything else with public safety?
well, we need to get back to Rory, right? He has asked you.
Yes.
So.
Oh, we haven't finished that conversation as far as this feedback.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Audience, so we can get out, enjoy this beautiful day. All right. Well, thanks, Chris.
Thanks.
All right, Jim.
Yes,
What we got going on?
black flies are out, so we'll be mowing pretty quick, so. But we're on general cleanup and fixing some of the storm damage from last winter on the roads and whatnot.
Where is the biggest damage? Is that piece of Cascade Ridge up there? That's
Yes, that was the main one, and then of course the water main break repair on Snows Mountain Road. But so we're getting after those. Those are pretty much completed. The majority, the bad sections are done. There's still some more maintenance items that we have to do, but we're starting to get on cleanup. We have been on some of the rainy days. We made new boards for the dam because those were getting all worn out and they were leaking pretty bad. So hopefully these will be a little bit better. We're starting. We will have the flash boards repaired this week, and so the pond levels will have the weekend and all next week to recover. And that's about it. Well 4.
Yeah.
Well, we lost the motor to the pump in well 4.
No.
That has been pulled. It will be back in place on Friday. We will, with a new motor.
How old is this motor? Is
A year and a
2
half.
years.
old.
Year and a half
And
old.
what kind of, is it under any kind of warranty?
We're
We're
looking
looking
at
into
that. We're
that.
also looking to the fact that we had a what seems to be a very large electrical surge,
Yeah.
a spike. So we are gonna fill out paperwork and do a insurance
Isn't
claim.
that stuff surge protected?
Yes and no, it depends.
This was like a 500 volt surge.
But shouldn't we have this stuff protected for,
You
the
can
worst
have-
case scenario?
Yeah, well, we've had an instance where we had to go out to the new well house and reset one of the starters because it was telling us that it had a dirty leg. It's 480 volt and it's what they call 3-phase. So if you want to think of it as 3 wires, and one of the wires was not giving enough juice. They're supposed to all be the same.
Yeah.
And if one drops out, then it can internally damage a motor, which may or may not show up for a couple of weeks. And it just that you just don't know, and it's a hard thing to prove.
Yeah.
So, but at any rate, quick response from Smith Pump. We pulled the pump out today. We will have a new pump put back in on Friday. We'll shock the well, let it set over a week, waste it, and then get it back online on Monday.
So we're getting water just from well 2 now,
Well,
which if well 2 was hooked into well 1, if well 2 was going through into well 4,
The new
would we
pump.
have any water if this pump failed?
Yes,
Yeah.
we'd still have the well too.
All right, I just want to make sure we're not, this next plan we're going to.
No. This would not affect the new plan
no,
that we're looking
Now,
at.
do we have to notify,
We have.
DES?
yes,
We-
they've been notified.
All right, what have they said? Because
It's not an issue.
Okay,
because
so we're
we-
not making
well-
enough water. to
Well,
support
right
our
now,
contract.
our demand during the week is very low. We have, the reservoirs are full, so we have enough water to get us through Friday without exceeding our pump permit
Right.
on well 2. We need to get it fixed and back in service before the holiday weekend, and right now, the
Okay,
schedule wise.
if we have a problem, please send emails out. to
Yeah, we
us.
will.
Let us know.
It's pretty straightforward. It's a burnt out motor, pull the pump. There doesn't appear to be anything wrong with the pump itself. Detach the motor off the pump, get a new one on there, and then we just would like the well to set after we shock it over the weekend.
Rich, anything back up? No. Thanks.
No.
Thanks, Jim.
Mhm.
All right, let's move on we'll go to the sign application, Gordon Research. Same as every year.
Same as every year, they meet, Chris has looked at it, they meet the new sign ordinance for the directional signs, temporary signs. So,
All right.
unless
So
you
can we have a
have
motion
any-
to approve the Gordon signs?
So moved.
I second.
All in favor, aye. Okay, we're done with that. First half property tax bill.
So you have the warrant here. This is, the first half bill is 1/2 the tax rate
Yep.
from last year. So,
Those go
All
out
of-
June.
the bills will go out
Next week.
this week. And next
That's
week.
probably about beginning of next.
Yeah, beginning of next week. They'll be due July 3rd
Second.
or 2nd.
Oh.
That's Monday, the 2nd.
This says William Larson.
Ah,
Okay, we'll get that fixed. It's Richard. So,
we'll fix that.
I can sign it.
no, that's okay. Put it on him. That's okay.
All right.
And all of the new values, any of the
Right.
pickups have been done. So people, when they get their second half bill, will have already prepaid on their new values. So there won't be such a large, especially for the new construction that's going on.
How do we sit with our abatements?
He is working on them and should have something back to us at the beginning of June.
Okay.
Still.
All right. Forest Service Law Enforcement Reimbursement Request.
So this is an annual thing. Usually Dave and I get to sign it. This, for some reason, they put your name on it,
Yeah.
Mike. So I'd like to get a board vote to just, this is $2,500, same as it has been for several years, right, Chris?
Yep.
And no change to it. There's
Okay.
2 places to sign. So
I
if
didn't get
the
that
board
part.
could vote, no, here's the original.
All right, I will make a motion to accept the $2,500 from the Land and Water Conservation Fund Program.
We'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
One place to sign or multiple?
There's one place to sign on both copies, on 2 copies.
Okay, that's taken care of. Wastewater treatment we've discussed. Veterans exemption paperwork.
Yeah, this is just a complete, it's not a change. We have to get Lisa in to sign her application, so there's a spot on for each of you in the back.
Okay, we've approved this.
You have approved this already, it's just refilling up.
All right. We've done town entrance. Let's talk about the Corcoran's Pond Dam.
We are scheduled to, as of this afternoon, have a meeting on it will be the 24th at 10 a.m. We will have the 75% plan at that time. The other agenda items are gonna be the stairway attached to the building.
Yeah.
And scheduling. Scheduling is becoming an issue. They're getting a lot of pushback on the dates. They have asked us to wait until the 21st of October to begin construction this fall because of the weddings. They've Fridays, and they need all of the area cleaned up and ready to have the weddings on Friday at noon. These are new requirements.
And pond levels maintained.
And the pond level,
I think we need to address this privately with them
okay,
and, have a discussion as to what we can and what's reasonable and what's not reasonable.
yeah, and basically, right now, these requirements, if we put these specifications into a bid document, one of 2 things is gonna happen. The bid is gonna come in so far over our budget, we
Right.
won't be able to do it, or we won't get anyone to bid.
They're gonna have to pay their workers a 5-day week and have them work 4.
Well, I mean, they're not,
That's just not
at
gonna
the
get.
21st of October, doesn't even give us a month of work.
Right, no, I
It could
got you.
be snowing within 10 days
Actually, it snows, we usually get our first snow,
at the end of October.
Oh,
And
no,
when
no.
are we planning? to start?
Well,
When
We
do
had-
we want to start?
we wanted to start the day after Labor Day.
Yeah,
That's the,
Yeah.
but they kept saying, that's not possible, that's not possible.
well,
And they've asked us to do it the day after Columbus Day,
That's-
and
That
that's
still only gives us 5 weeks instead of 4 weeks. Yeah, we need,
maybe,
yeah, we need to sit and talk.
okay, so I think the schedule is gonna be the big, but DES, I think we've told you, they will allow us to do the split
Split.
schedule, and the Dam Bureau is gonna be supportive. We need to talk about the wetlands permit for the temporary river crossing, for Snows Brook, that should be part of the discussion also. So, but other than that, we will have the 75% plan. I can email it to you on Friday.
Okay. Great.
Anything else?
No, if I look at it from a contractor's, with a
Yeah.
contractor's lens, I'm looking at something that's problematic to me would be a split schedule.
I mean, and if you shorten one of the splits,
Yes.
you just have enough time to get your equipment up here, unload it, and then get it packed up again.
So,
All right, well, we'll have those conversations. All right, let's go to the Silver Fox sign.
So I have the letter here.
So we discussed this at the last planning board meeting.
Yeah.
Again. And, the chairman, Terry, determined that, what he was going to provide the select board, was their intent behind the change, as opposed to, commenting on the specific sign in question. And so that's what this letter seeks to do.
Okay.
The bottom line, what I took away from it was that for a sign to be grandfathered, it must be the same in all respects as the earlier sign. So that's what Terry, I think, was trying to capture in this letter. The other point that the planning board wanted to emphasize is, well, was to remind us that all signs need a permit, even grandfathered signs. Not to confuse permitting with grandfathering.
Okay. So, what are you saying?
Well, I guess what I'm saying is that if we determine that this sign is the same in all respects as the previous sign, then
Right.
it's considered we can consider it grandfather. If not,
See, this is where this dichotomy still exists, and the letter we got. In all respects except for language.
right,
So in your interpretation of seeing the sign before and after and all that, do you find that sign to be the same sign with the only exception of language change?
I don't.
Okay,
But again, that is looking at it, strictly looking at the words, with not trying to wiggle through it at all.
Yeah.
In terms of same design, not the same design, just on that point. However, I don't want to take necessarily such a strict view of this, since I thought we were on a path to resolution before this, in my view, was blown up.
right. So see, I kind of think that the design change is out of necessity, not out of desire. It's like, so Best Western said, you are no longer a Best Western. Take our name off.
Mhm.
And I just don't, I see this as a grandfathered sign.
Mhm.
That's my opinion on this one. And if you see it differently,
Well,
that's
no,
fine.
I guess what I'm saying is that if we would abide strictly by the words
Right,
in the ordinance and what the planning board has told us, then it seems to me it is a change in design, but I think it's a fungible concept.
Yeah.
And I hear what you're saying, and again, I'd like to get back to the solution I think we had in our hands.
Is to allow them, just give us a date.
Yes, this is, should not be a major issue. I think everyone's fine with the sign in terms of, as a sign. There's no question that the sign is in any way unbearable to anybody.
Yeah, and it's not an affront to our regulations. It's not someone going in and going out of their way to say, well, this really isn't that. This was
Right.
a necessity into the same spot with pretty much the same colors. And all that minor reviews.
Yeah, I've gone back and forth on this because, my original impression is that it was a new sign. Before we had the planning board input, I was looking at it as an existing sign in which they simply changed the faceplate. And so there were a lot more things that were similar about the sign. I mean, they didn't put up a new thing to hold the sign. They didn't change the lighting that already existed. I don't believe they changed the back of the sign. I think they only changed the front of the sign. So to me, it seemed originally, before the planning board input, that it was a grandfathered sign. There has been more that has changed in that sign other than just the wording. It's different colors. It's a different style, if you will. It's a different kind of design. Board's input on that, I still think we ought to fall back to approving the sign on a temporary basis and asking that they replace the sign at some point in time in the future with one that meets the criteria.
Well, it wouldn't meet the criteria, it would be a new sign permit.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right, well, I think if that's the way we want to go, I think our consensus is we're gonna tell them we are willing to grant this as a temporary sign. Please give us a date you will try to get it out there. And when you're ready for a new sign, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, Mark?
It makes sense to me. I mean, the other thing that I have a problem with is that as we look at, for instance, the artistic nature
Right.
of our entry sign and the ideas we have in mind to make the signage in town of a certain type. This is a sign that you could put out on Route 3 in Lincoln.
Yeah,
Okay.
But I think it's out of economic and transitory necessity.
I accept that.
And I think that because they are owned by the mountain, they will eventually get to the same sign band that the mountain and everyone else is using.
Right.
To show their unity. So that's why
Yeah. So.
So can I put that part in also
Yeah.
into the letter?
Oh, of course.
That we would anticipate when you replace it, that it would match your resort family of signs.
Yes.
Be of the same type and.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there is an issue of setting a precedent here too.
Oh, no, I get it, but I think the caveats we've included in our reasoning.
It gives us the wiggle room we're looking for to be reasonable about this.
Exactly. All right, so I think we have an answer on that. You all set with that, Mark?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we
I can't wait for the response.
Now, there's something in my package that's not mentioned on our agenda, or I'm missing.
No, it's under correspondence.
Oh, okay, let's go to correspondence.
There are three items under correspondence. The first is the Land and Water Conservation Fund Program and Property Stewardship Letter from Eric Feldbaum. Eric came yesterday and we walked the trail. This grant was received in 1980.
Which trail did you walk?
We walked the village trail, basically. This grant built the 3 bridges across, 2 across Mad River and 1 across Snowsbrook. Okay, so the footbridge that washed away and was replaced by the rocks, that bridge, the big bridge across the Mad River that was washed away and we replaced it, and then the small bridge across Snowsbrook.
Okay.
And as part of that, the Mad River Trail, from West Branch Road past well 3 and to the location of the old footbridge,
Right?
there was a 15-foot wide easement, trail easement, that was part of that, was identified so that we got the grant for the bridge, okay? And then from the big bridge across the Mad River,
Mhm.
right? Across the small bridge, Snowsbrook, and then up here to the wastewater treatment plant,
Right.
okay? There was a 15-foot wide easement trail that basically followed the sewer line, right, that had been put in there. I don't know what it looked like at that in the 80s, but that was submitted to the National Park Service in the grant application. Okay, so we were given the $25,000 grant and we built the 3 bridges.
Wow.
And then it was, I know, yeah, right?
How many
Wouldn't you
linear
like
feet
that?
bridge we got
Those
after
days,
that?
it's probably like $700,000 today, but, so the issue is this file has remained dormant at the state level for 38 years. They have resurrected all of these LCWF files now because there is a provision in the law that, in the federal law, that says that these will be reviewed and certified every 5 years.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so we missed the first 7 certifications.
So what do we have to do? We have to, our bridges are gone.
No, I did take him out
Can we get
there.
another
He
25,000
looked
to
at,
put them back?
no, he
Yeah.
looked at the stone crossing and he said, fine, the Forest Service wouldn't let you put the bridge back. This is okay. He took pictures and he's good to go. We replaced the bridge, the big bridge. He's fine with that. The little bridge is still there. That's fine. The only issue with this whole thing is the fact that there was a jog up the hill in the 15-foot right-of-way that basically is under one of the buildings in Mountain Brook condos. Okay, so we cannot change that easement because the existing trail is already a recreational use, and you can't change the easement that was approved to an existing easement that's being used for recreation. So he took that information back to Concord and said that he will contact us about what we need to do with this. The absolute worst case is that we would have to pay the $25,000 back. Maybe he can massage this so that we don't have to worry about it. But right now, there is an issue, a violation of Park Service regulations.
Did Mountain Brook get an easement to come across it so they didn't know it was there?
I bet they didn't even know it was there.
Things were a little loose. back
Things
then.
were very, yeah. So
How much of Mountain Brook is in this easement? Or is it covering the whole easement?
it's just the one building is
Yes.
over this one section.
Yeah, but is it covering the whole 15 feet?
It covers the whole, oh yeah, it covers the whole 15. It's built on top of this jog in the trail.
Right.
And so it covers the easement completely. So, he said he would work with us as much as he could. but at some point,
Yeah.
he will be getting back to us. And I just didn't want to drop that on you without you knowing what the background is.
Right, okay,
So we're working on it.
all right. Then the New Hampshire Economic Development thing.
The New Hampshire Economic Development thing was an
Yeah.
email that we got from the Economic Development Office. And we did not request this or
Right, this
anything, we were
was
just,
the state is trying to get funds.
the state is
do
trying
from
to
the
get
federal
funds.
government.
Yeah.
Or it's very interesting.
And we are one of the opportunities on this.
One of the tracks with Lincoln and Thornton.
Yeah, Lincoln, Thornton, Conway,
Track.
Dixville, Stratford, Groveton, Littleton. So,
Yeah.
so we are one of those 27 towns.
Okay,
And then the final thing was, this, I think I had mentioned Marvin Weinberger had been working with the Forest Service. He and Dan Newton had been
Oh, on the,
proposing this
yeah.
long trail.
Yeah.
I just wondered if you wanted this potentially added to the conversation with Brooke Brown, the county district ranger, when she comes in on the 30th.
sure.
I'll email it to her if it's all right, and just let her know, because supposedly she's been involved in the conversations.
Throw the condo over this one too.
Well, this
I built
won't have
one, I'll build
anything,
two.
this will be all Forest Service stuff, this is not gonna involve us,
Yeah.
so.
That'd be nice.
All right, so, board concerns or directives?
I just mentioned one thing, one of our citizens for the past couple of years has been talking about the condition of the Boulder Path, which I believe is a Forest Service. Is it Forest Service or WDAIA? I'm not sure.
Maybe an AIA, but
I happened to run into Dan Newton when they were getting ready to go out and work on Welsh and Dickey.
mhm,
And my suggestion to Dan, because they get what, 3,500 from us
Right.
each year. I suggested to him that while he's out working on the trails, that he make a list, just like we do with the town roads, of which ones are in the worst shape.
Yeah.
And figure out how much it would take to fix them and start building,
Yeah.
a fund, through warrant articles to try and get some of these things fixed. Because
okay,
it's not gonna happen with just volunteers. Some of them I think are in pretty bad shape.
Yeah.
And, I use as an example what they did on the Mad River Trail,
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
They did a great
Yeah.
job,
okay.
Rich, anything?
Nope.
All right, anything for non-public?
Yeah, I got a couple of things that
All
I
right.
just like.
Now, it is 4:16, I'm gonna make a motion that we go into non-public session. Is there a second?
Second,
All in favor? Aye. Thanks, everybody.
I was gonna mention too that the common wall was inspected again.
I'm sorry?
The common wall was inspected and
Oh, okay.
related devices were recertified, and I forgot to mention that.
Okay, good.
Oh, sorry. I don't know about this stuff.
Take the plug out of the wall.
Sharon's.